Welcome back to Living Local. Despite advances in healthcare and technology, our country faces a growing financial and social burden managing complex chronic diseases. The United States spends 85% of healthcare dollars on patients with chronic conditions, and by the year 2030, the number of Americans living with these chronic diseases is predicted to increase by 37%. A local nonprofit is on a mission to serve this growing population affected by what some call an invisible epidemic. Joining me in studio is Lynn Eveleth. She is the founder and CEO of LiveFit with Lupus. Lisa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So what's the history behind LiveFit with Lupus?
We started about 6 years ago, and I was diagnosed with ITP and lupus and then rheumatoid arthritis. So I was diagnosed quite a few years ago, over 20 years ago, and it's been a rough journey. And so when I was diagnosed, there wasn't a lot of support for me to go to in the Quad City area. So we had a small little support group that kind of fizzled out, and so there just wasn't the community involvement in this area. So I just wanted to start something that we could have, help others and help autoimmune patients.
So Lisa, what is it like living with these types of autoimmune diseases?
You have good days and bad days. It can be rough. Definitely I've had my share of very ill, during the last 10 years. It's been pretty good, actually. I have flare-ups. Anytime you have a traumatic experience. I lost my father last year, so it's been a really stressful year. So that, of course, exacerbates your symptoms, and so it's been a little bit rough this year.
And there's a lot of misconceptions around autoimmune diseases. What are they?
Well, an autoimmune disease, any autoimmune disease, your body attacks itself. So it creates antibodies against oneself. So it's a little bit tricky. Your immune system kind of can't distinguish between healthy cells and foreign cells.
And your nonprofit is called LiveFit with Lupus, but there are so many other autoimmune diseases out there, and that you approach those as well. Actually, yes. On your T-shirt here, I was kind of looking, and I didn't know some of these were even autoimmune diseases, like IBS or diabetes, even. So, what are some other types of diseases people can encounter that are actually autoimmune diseases?
Like rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's, celiac. There's just so many. There's over 100 types, and I think that will increase. Even Parkinson's now is considered autoimmune. The body attacks itself, and it's so hard. It's like 8 years it takes on an average to diagnose an autoimmune disease.
Yeah, I was doing some research before this segment, and it is so hard sometimes to diagnose an autoimmune disease. Why is that?
It's just tricky. Not one symptom, not one patient is like another. So, for me, I've been a little bit lucky as far as unlucky for my diagnosis of lupus. Lupus is a tricky one. It's kind of like the mother of all autoimmune. You can be affected from the top of your head to the, down the tip of your toes. Every organ can be involved, your skin being the largest organ. I've had 11 out of the 11 criteria. So it's been a little rough road for me, but it was an easier way to diagnose because if I would have known more about it, I know I could have diagnosed myself almost, but I didn't know at the time, hadn't heard about it, you hadn't heard too much. So more and more, it's becoming more and more evident of people know at least autoimmune, the word. Years ago, lupus, like, what's that, is that contagious, is that, so it's becoming a little bit more, people are getting more education out there, and that's my hope, is to educate people more.
And so you created LiveFit for Lupus because you saw a need. When you were diagnosed, there just wasn't much out there for support, advocacy, services. So you created this nonprofit. What does the nonprofit do? What kind of services do you offer?
So for one, like for me, nutrition was big, and I always was into nutrition and exercise. So we guide people in just creating a more healthy lifestyle. And I think, for me, just if you look back at my experiences and where I was and where I am today, it's been quite a big progress. I was very ill, all the time, and so people look at me and I don't look unhealthy, and so definitely nutrition has helped. Exercise, also movement, because when you think you're in pain and inflammation, motion is lotion. It's very important for everyone to move. We also do healing meetings, which we have educational speakers come, and so people learn and educate. Because I've been to, years ago, I was in support group meetings and never got too much out of it. A lot of people, they need to vent and they need to have someone to talk to who are like-minded. but I also want to keep a positive experience and not be in the victim mode. I think it's very important to take hold of your own health, you know, be your own advocate.
Yeah, and talking about being proactive about your own health, have you found a certain diet or nutrition regimen helps you with your autoimmune disease?
Yes, in fact, gluten-free for me has become very predominant. We do gluten-free cooking classes. In fact, we have one this Sunday, March 10th at Hy-Vee on Devil's Glen and Middle Road in Bettendorf.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
I know that nutrition can have such a profound impact on health. Now, what kind of outcomes have you seen with people that have received some of your services?
Well, definitely when you can get a hold of the inflammation and bring it down, people start to feel so much better. Vitamin D3 is big too, which we'll be talking about on March 18th, in fact, at District Drugs here. Jim Perry, the pharmacist, and Dr. Shaw will be talking about CBD oil, ways to kind of create less pain, and marijuana, medical marijuana. Because some people are just in so much pain, chronic pain daily. And just a tidbit, we don't need a diagnosis to help people, because people, it takes so long. If they're living with chronic pain, chronic condition, chronic fatigue, I mean, we like to help anyone. It doesn't need to have a label to help.
Right, and as a nonprofit, you obviously need funds to be able to provide these services. And so you have several events that are going on throughout the year. What are some of those that people can look forward to?
So we have our race. We're changing it this year to a new location. It's our 6th annual. In fact, we've kind of we're just kind of keeping it simple, but we're doing it at TBK Sports Complex in Bettendorf, and so we're working with them. So we'll have a little bit of a newer logo. It's on the horizon here. Our t-shirts are being made. And so it'll be a 5K. We'll have it start indoor on the soccer field, and then we'll end indoor as well. And they'll have, actually every person that is participating in the race will get a free breakfast buffet, and then they'll have use of the arcades, all the games there at the High Five Gaming and bowling, and the escape rooms, and I mean, it'll just be a blast for everyone.
The Sportsplex is such a great facility. There's so much going on there. So when and where is this event?
So this is June 15th, Saturday at 7:30 a.m., and then it'll last probably till 11 or so.
And how can people get involved?
Just sign up and go to livefitwithlupus.org.
Wonderful. Lisa, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for what you're doing in our community to serve people. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome. For more information on the autoimmune diseases and the upcoming 5K race, you can go to livefitwithlupus.org. We'll also have more details posted on ourquadcities.com. More Living Local is coming up right after this.